Well, good morning. This is the fifth Sunday of Easter, and we will continue to tell the story Knowing Jesus in a New Way. On the first day of knowing Jesus in a new way, only the women had the courage to go to the tomb. They were bringing spices to anoint Jesus' body. When they got to the tomb, the stone had been rolled away, and Jesus was gone. Just the sheet that they had wrapped him in was there. Well, the women rushed back to tell the men who had not come, and Peter and John raced to the tomb. They got there, they looked inside, Jesus was gone. And yet somehow, even in his absence, was present to them. They went back, but Mary Magdalene stood at the tomb weeping. She heard a voice saying, "Mary, why are you weeping?" She turned and she saw the gardener, what she thought was the gardener. But when Jesus said her name again, it was him. On the second Sunday of Easter, we remember the story of the two followers of Jesus who were walking down the road from Jerusalem to Emmaus. They were joined by a stranger who asked them what they were talking about, and they said, "Haven't you heard about what has happened in Jerusalem these past few days?" And they told him about the cross and about the tomb. And the stranger began to teach from the scriptures. When they got to Emmaus, the stranger was going to walk on, but they invited him to dinner. And at the inn, the stranger took bread and said a prayer and broke the bread and gave it to them. And they knew Jesus in the breaking of the bread. On the third Sunday of Easter, we remember the time that many of the disciples were in a room. The door was shut and locked. They were afraid that the soldiers would come and take them away, like they took Jesus away. But then they heard a voice saying, "Peace be with you." It was the Lord. He talked to them. They had something to eat. He blessed them and was gone. Now Thomas wasn't there that time. And when the disciples told him that Jesus had been there, he said, "No, I won't believe it. I won't believe it unless I can touch his wounds." Thomas had doubt in his bones. 8 days later, they were all in the room again. Judas, or Thomas, was there. They heard the voice, "Peace be with you." Jesus went straight to Thomas. He put out his hand, and Thomas touched the wound and said, "My Lord and my God." But Jesus said, "You believe because you have seen, but more blessed are those who will believe without seeing." On the fourth Sunday of the season of Easter, we remember how the disciples went to Galilee from Jerusalem, just as Jesus had told them to. Many of them had been fishermen. They had learned from their fathers. And so they went to the Sea of Galilee. It felt like home for them. Peter said, "I'm going fishing." So they got the boat ready, they pushed into the water and set the sails, and they fished all night, but they didn't catch anything. in the morning as the sun rose, they could see a figure on the beach and some smoke from a fire. The stranger cried out, "Do you have any fish?" And they said, "No." And the stranger said, "Throw the nets on the other side of the boat." So they did. And the net began to fill with fish. John looked more closely and said to Peter, "It's the Lord." And Peter jumped into the water, made his way to the land. The boat came behind. They took some fish, they cooked it and had some breakfast. Jesus went for a walk with Peter and 3 times asked him, "Do you love me?" And 3 times Peter said, "Yes, I love you." And 3 times Jesus said, "Feed my sheep." On the 5th Sunday of the season of Easter, we remember when the disciples all gathered in Galilee. They gathered to go to the mountain to meet Jesus. He was already there. It was good to see him again, even in this new way. But what were they to do now? Listen. Jesus is speaking again. What did he say? "All authority in heaven and in earth has been given to me." What does that mean? And then he said something they did understand, but they did not want to hear. He said, "Go everywhere. Tell everyone my story, even this part. Show them how to be good disciples. Tell them the story so that they can be part of the story. Baptize in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit." Oh, this was too far to go, too much to do. But then Jesus said something that dismayed them. He said, "I will be with you always, even to the end of the age." And then he was gone. As they walked back south to Jerusalem, they realized that they had been followers, but now they were made to be leaders. They had been sheep. Now they were to be shepherds. They had come home for the last time. Now they were to make a home for others. Now I wonder if there's anything in your home that you could come and put beside the picture of today's story to help tell the story some more. Only you know what that could be. For those of you who know the Godly Playroom, I wonder if there's anything in this room that you could put beside the picture of this story. Or maybe you want to discuss those other Godly Play questions, like, I wonder what part of this story you like the best. Or I wonder what part is the most important part. It could be the same as what you like the best, but it could be different. Or I wonder where you are in the story, or what in the story might be about you. Well, thank you for joining me for this story. And in just a few moments, church will begin, so stay tuned and have a good day.